Very crazy.
I was about to do a soft shoe, but I
Yeah,
decided
I
not
know.
to.
I mean, I don't get it. But anyway, here we are. So we are with Scott Bowman, and he is running for City Council Place 3. And we're going to do a short little get to know you 15, 20-minute conversation here. And I want to start off by asking you the tough question, which is, how long have you been in Mansfield?
Oh, well, originally moved here back in 2001, but my time in Mansfield really didn't start there. I grew up in Southwest Arlington, went to Martin High School, and tons of friends down here in the early 90s when I was in high school, and I spent a lot of my time down here. And so I would say that I started hanging around, the old Walmart, the old grocery stores there on the corner of 157 and 287, well before all of the superstores moved in, the big boxes came in. But we moved here in 2001. I'm from Arlington, wife's from Fort Worth, and we wanted to find some neutral ground, just to make the in-laws on both sides happy. We had a child. He was about 6 weeks old. That child now is a senior at UTA, about to graduate with a 4.0. Really, really proud of him. And so we've been here that whole time, and want to continue to be here and make Mansfield our forever home.
All right. And tell us what you do for a living. What's your occupation?
All right. So I'm an IT professional. I'm an IT manager. I've been doing that for over 30 years. Currently, I lead a small team of developers, web developers, application developers. We solve problems. We interview people, find out what they need. We make suggestions. We fine tune and adjust as needed. And we solve problems. It's really what we do. But not only am I in web development, you can't just work in a silo. So we work with our infrastructure team, putting things in the cloud. And we are also concerned about cybersecurity and things like that. So we work well with other groups to make applications, to make software that you can grab, from your phone or from your computer.
That's got to be a fascinating industry to be in right now, with everything that's going on, the
Yep.
Internet of Things, artificial intelligence. That's just got to be crazy.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the all the legislation going on right now, or the pieces about TikTok, about security. People ask me questions all the time about, is this possible, and why would somebody ask this question?
And so what's the answer?
Oh, you always need to have your guard up. Look for phishing, know what phishing looks like. Never give out your password, give different passwords, in all your applications. Don't reuse passwords. People are typically the weakest link in the security chain.
Well, that's disappointing, because then it is always our fault.
Well, we can learn, we can grow from those mistakes. People
can we?
Well, hopefully.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you, why are you running again? What's your thing? What's your purpose? What is it that you're doing? What are you trying to accomplish?
All right, so you said again, so I'm gonna go ahead and pounce on that one. Back in 2020, announced I was going to run for City Council Place 2 at that time. We had a little shuffling of council members there. Our then Mayor Cook moved to the state level, left open a spot. A couple of guys running for that, left some other positions for people like me to move into. And I tell people it's the biggest lie I've ever told my wife. She says, well, what does campaigning look like? And I'm like, well, it's like 2 months or something like that. Well, then COVID hit. And 49 weeks later, not that I'm counting, 49 weeks later, the whole thing is over with a runoff. And, we're wearing Christmas hats at the polls. And it was a very, very long year for everybody. But from an election standpoint, it was cumbersome. And so why am I running again? Well, I felt like I had a good showing then. I've got some great ideas and want to continue to support the people of Mansfield. I want to serve in that capacity. I've continued to serve, maybe not at the council level, but I've been serving on the Parks Board continuously since then. I worked with other organizations like the Mission Center and other groups around town. I've been on different committees for the city, and feel like I could take that chance again now and step up and be on council for this go around. I think I'm a great candidate. I thought I was then. Work well with others and want to continue to see Mansfield prosper.
Okay. So you are running against someone, Brent Newsom. What do you feel your differentiator is between the two of you?
Yeah, so I'm a good citizen and I love the chamber. And so I watched your previous videos and I know this question was coming because you asked it from other people. And you know what, Brent and I drew numbers. You draw for ballot placements, one of the official steps that you do when you're running for office. And he signed up first, so he got to draw the number first with only two of us there. I'm really there to accept whatever number came next. We visited inside for a little bit, talked with everybody who was there, and he left. I chased him out the door and had a great chat with him at that point and said, hey, let's just, lay down some ground rules. Let's talk about how we're going to act during this. And one of those things we both agreed, he said, I'm not a vindictive person. I never suggested that he was. I'm not either. But just to have that conversation, I feel like this question may put us in a situation where we might be vying against each other. So rather, I'm just going to tell you my strengths. He may have some of these as well, but he can speak for himself better than I can speak for him. I think that I'm a very personable person. I'm approachable. People who have problems, for example, with work and applications, like I was talking about in IT, people come to me and we solve problems together. I work well with other people and with teams. I also have great ideas. I think outside of the box, especially for something like city council. I've not sat in that seat before. I've not had the opportunity to be there. And I think I may look at things a little bit different, maybe through the lens of somebody who's not been there versus somebody who has been there. I also feel like I bring a different mindset or a unique skill set to the council, since I'm not any of the other professions that are on there. I don't own a business. I'm a different type of person. So I create some diversity in thought to the council. Being in IT for as long as I have, I'm very methodical. I look at data to make decisions, but I also want to balance that with, I'm the president of the Parks Board right now, been on the Parks Board since 2018. I've got a little bit more of a soft heart for quality of life and for green space and open space that may not go necessarily with all of the numbers, but provide a quality of life piece. So I feel like I can balance, data along with needs and wants.
Okay. So let me ask you another question. You mentioned, what do you think your number one strength is, if you were to say?
So I'm a people person. I think that when I talk with people, I listen and I hear what they're saying. I don't just let things go in one ear and out the other. I process a little bit. I'll typically ask a bunch of questions, reflective listening, and make sure that there's some clarity in what's being discussed or what the needs are, or what somebody's position is. I don't discount people or make quick judgments on people, but I do like to listen and understand where people are coming from. And I think being an IT guy and having people skills is, it makes me a unicorn, I think. But the typical IT guy, you picture just, heads down and typing away, where I'm much more of a people person. I think that's a huge strength for me to have both of those analytical skills and the people skills.
Is there something specific that draws you in to want to participate and serve on city council?
Yeah, so the selfish side of me is for my kids and my grandkids. I mentioned, we decided long ago to make Mansfield our forever home, and I want to help shape the future of what Mansfield looks like. And it's my kids, it's your kids, it's those kids. It's the ability for us to all live here together and prosper together and have great businesses here together. We only have 25% of our land available for development. I'm currently on the citizen steering committee for the future land use plan. And we're going through the exercise of creating that plan or drafting the plan to ultimately be accepted by city council. And it's great to be a part of that, knowing that decisions that we make or the recommendations that we make are going to help the future of Mansfield. The the URL for that and the mantra that kind of the time span of that is all the same. It's Mansfield 2040. Well, that's not too far off. 15, 17 years from now, we're going to be a very different place than we are now. And being a part of council, being included on this committee, helps me shape Mansfield into the place it needs to be, where my kids and grandkids can grow and live and work.
And to you, what does that mean? What do you see as the future of Mansfield?
All right, so I see our population increasing considerably, right? By build out, there's a bunch of different estimates. We'll just go with 130,000 people. Well, right now, we're north of 80,000 people. So we're talking about a considerable increase in population. That means that we need to be focusing on infrastructure today, that we need to be focusing on the traffic concerns of today, but we need to be focusing on them in the future and not just for capacity of what we have now. We need to be preserving green space and open space for our parks, for quality of life. We need to make sure that we have housing options available for people so that we can have multi-generational housing here. And we talked about this just earlier, I guess it was last Thursday, we chatted about this in the Future Land Use Plan Committee. Multi-generational housing can mean a couple of different things. It either means that you have multiple generations living in one residence at the same time, like you have a parent with adult children in there and maybe even their parents, or even a skip level where you have grandparents who have custody and guardianship of younger children. So you have that skip level where that residence needs to be able to provide all of those things that are needed for that family. We need to have nearby shopping. We need to have nearby groceries. We need to have the amenities like parks and trails and access and mobility to those neighborhoods for a lot of reasons. One, it decreases our traffic. If I can walk to the corner store and pick up a loaf of bread rather than get in my car and drive across town to get to the grocery store, I'm just one less car on the road. And also, the mobility also creates opportunity for people. That way I can have my high school daughter who right now works at a coffee shop. If we lived in a place that was had a lot of mobility to it, she could walk to work safely in a well-lit, viewable sidewalk that would get her to where she needs to go. And so I see the future of Mansfield allowing those sorts of opportunities. In addition to the infrastructure that we talked about and housing options, we need to make sure that we focus on public safety. Public safety is key. For the last several years, we've been awarded top honors in safety for cities our size. I believe back in 2019, 2020, we were second in the state of Texas for our size in public safety. And it's a huge feather in our hat, but it doesn't need to just be, granted to us or awarded to us and then have us look away. We need to continue on with that because Mansfield's changing. Our population changes, our the way we live and work inside of Mansfield changes. And if we get to the place where we're having 6-story buildings, we need to make sure that our public safety groups and public services are able to support those sorts of structures. Visited with Chief Ross before about, they've got ladder trucks that will go up to the 4th floor. Well, that's great. We can train for that and we can work for that. But if we go to the 6th floor, what does that do for our firefighters? Are they well equipped and trained to be able to service those sorts of calls? And so I think our public safety needs to be addressed as well, just not forgotten about, maybe not addressed. That makes it sound negative. It's definitely not that. Chief Aaron does a great job. Chief Ross does a great job. And want to make sure that we stay on top of things because Mansfield is a great place for a family to be. And we definitely want our residents to feel safe.
Okay. Do you have any final comments or anything you want to say?
I think you covered, most of the items I wanted to chat about. I do want to make sure that people understand, the role of city council is there's really only 5 things that somebody on the city council does. And I think that I would be an excellent person to do all of those things. The first thing is you construct, review, and approve a balanced budget for our city. It's also important to make sure that that budget's transparent. We want to make sure that everybody knows what their tax dollars are going for. Number two thing that the city council does is they amend, approve ordinances, policies, and charter amendments for our city. That's kind of the legislative side of how the city works. And my experience with the Parks Board and having Chapter 96 and working through those changes that we've made through there for the Parks and Rec group allows me to feel confident to continue this on at the city council level. Number three item that we do is zoning cases and approve variances. And that's probably what most people get involved with when they visit a city council meeting. They're going to have a piece of land next to them, a change of use or change of zoning that may affect them that people get concerned with. And I think that's where one of my qualities or my strength that I highlighted about being able to visit with people and understand concerns is a real benefit for me and for Mansfield. The fourth thing that the city council does is they appoint 4 positions within the city. They do the hiring and the reviewing of the city manager, city secretary, the city attorney, and the municipal judge. And those positions are managed by city council, and we want to make sure that we have good people in place on the council that will represent the people to help make those decisions. And then the last thing that the city council is responsible for, of course, I save this one till the end because it's the most important, is being able to set a vision for our city and listen to the residents of Mansfield that help drive that vision. And I think that I would do an excellent job at all 5 of those points.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for taking time to visit with us today. We will be doing the candidate forum this week on Thursday, and that starts at 10:30 here at the chamber. It will also be broadcast live on Facebook, and then we will later have a chamber business luncheon in April on the 20th at Walnut Creek Country Club, where everyone can come in and get some face-to-face time with you. So thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Lori. I appreciate this opportunity and those other 2 events. I'm really looking forward to them.
All right. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
Appreciate you.